Hi there, this is Penelope and this is the second video for topic 1. This is topic 1 class 2 where we're looking at fractions. If we look at a fraction, it has a top and a bottom. The top, to use the official term, we would call it the numerator, and the bottom we will call the denominator. It's very important that we all use the same words. We can think of a fraction as simply being a division sum. P divided by Q can be thought of as how many Q's are there in P. So if you turn it into a question, you're not going to get it wrong. For example, if you're doing 4 over a half, you're not going to say that's 2, because if you think of that as a question, how many halves are there in 4? Think of it as pizzas. How many half pizzas are there in 4 pizzas? The answer is 8. So if you think of it as a question, then you won't go wrong. If the number on the top, P, the numerator, is less than Q, then we say that the fraction is a proper fraction. And if the denominator is less than P, then we say that the fraction is improper. So a proper fraction would be 3 over 4, and an improper fraction would be 4 over 3. Now, multiplying fractions is the easy one. And because it's so easy, everybody does it for anything to do with fractions. So, to multiply fractions, it's top times top over bottom times bottom. So if you've got A over B times C over D, the answer to that is going to be AC over BD. Now again, if you think of division as how many Q's are there in P, then, as I said before, you will never go wrong. 2 over a half asks the question 2 over a quarter asks the question how many quarters are there in 2? There are 4 quarters in every one, so there are 8 quarters in 2. How many halves are there in 3? How many half pizzas are there in 3 pizzas? Then there are 6. Dividing fractions, though, is a little bit more difficult. The rule, if you invert the denominator and then multiply by the numerator, if you flip and multiply, that's another way of writing it, flip and multiply. So you invert and then multiply. So if we're looking at 3 over 4 divided by a half, what that's saying is how many halves in 3 quarters. It says, if we'd written it as that, then half is the denominator, so we're going to flip that and multiply. So it's 3 over 4 times, now flip becomes 2 over 1, so it's 3 2s are 6 over 4, which we could simplify to that. Adding and subtracting, though, is not so easy. We always have to go for a common denominator. And if it's got a common denominator, it's fine. If it doesn't have a common denominator, then it's not fine, and we have to create one. So, if we've got a half minus a quarter, we have to make the denominators the same. And the easiest way to do it is to multiply top and bottom by something that will give us the common denominator of 2 4s are 8. So that fraction will become 4 over 8, and 1 over 4 times 2 over 2 will give us 2 over 8. Now I know we can do this a little bit more simply, but this is the theory. This is what we're going to do. So we're going to 1 over 2 times 4 over 4 minus 1 over 4 times 2 over 2. So we've made a new fraction multiplying top and bottom by the other fraction. So now we've got 4 over 8 minus 2 over 8 Now we can subtract because we've got a common denominator, so now we can say 4 minus 2 over 8 is 2 over 8, which we could simplify to 1 over 4. And it's the same if we were adding. If we were saying a half plus a quarter, we would change that to having a common denominator of 8. So that would be 4 over 8 plus 2 over 8, which is 6 over 8. So you must find a common denominator. Sometimes we want to be able to compare fractions. We want to be able to figure out which is the biggest fraction of a list of fractions. So for example, we've got the ones here, a sixth, a half, and a third, and if we need to put them in order, then what we have to do is we have to put them with the same denominator. So we have to change a half. Okay, look at this one. The biggest one is 6. So what do we multiply 2 by to get 6? The answer would be 3. So that would be 3 over 6. A third, we need it over 6 as well. So we need to multiply that by 2 over 2. So that's 2 over 6. And then the last one is already 1 over 6. And you can see that they're already in descending orders. Now, it might be easy enough to do this for numerical fractions because we could always use our calculator. But we can't do that if our fractions are algebraic. And once we get into algebra, we're going to use the same technique, but we have to know that technique. So it's easy to start off using numbers, practice with numbers, and then go on to using algebra.